com a cabeça. A queda e o eventual uso pelos pais de calmantes nas crianças para as manter a dormir enquanto jantavam podem ter provocado a morte de Madeleine. Recorde-se que o hábito do uso do Calpol nas crianças foi confirmado pelo pai de Kate.
Is it possible that Kate, with her medical background, might have wanted to help Madeleine to go to sleep that night?
Not at all.
Even out of kindness, she certainly
Not
wouldn't
even
have
out of
given.
kindness. I think they may have used Calpol like most mothers do. Nothing. It's just outrageous to even think about it.
E a dada altura, de facto, tivemos acesso a um relatório que era assinado por mais de uma dezena de profissionais do FSS, onde se dizia que existia uma correspondência de 17 sobre 19 alelos no caso da Madeleine McCann. Para nós existiam mais que suficientes dados para dizer que se tratava do sangue da Madeleine.
Para percebermos as análises feitas, fomos ao Instituto de Medicina Legal de Coimbra, onde hoje se fazem análises similares usando o método do Low Copy Number. Quando as amostras foram recolhidas do apartamento do Ocean Club e do carro alugado pelos McCann, foram enviadas para o laboratório, onde se procedeu à preparação das amostras. Posteriormente, avaliou-se a quantidade de ADN existente no material recolhido. Como a quantidade era muito pequena, usou-se o método do Low Copy Number. As amostras foram aumentadas e, posteriormente, os marcadores de ADN foram assinalados. Este método tem a vantagem de conseguir trabalhar com pequeníssimas quantidades de ADN, mas nem sempre os resultados permitem comparar de uma forma clara o ADN da vítima com o recolhido. Ao aumentar de uma forma artificial a quantidade de ADN para analisar, amplificamos também um conjunto de dados que se podem confundir com os marcadores. O relatório final que o FSS entrega à investigação não é conclusivo.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear thoughts build up until I can't feel. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. This is the third and final analysis really of that original article, and really all of this has just been an effort to debunk, disprove, challenge, argue with the narrative presented in that article in The Independent. And that brings us now to the accidentally overdosed theory. Now, it may be Amaral's theory that Madeleine died of an overdose, or that while sedated and while the McCanns were out to dinner, she fell off a couch. But I don't give much weight to either of those theories. And let's be clear, to either of them. So the one is, I don't think Madeleine accidentally overdosed. That's the first point. And the other one is, I don't think Madeleine died while the McCanns were out to dinner. And I guess the third point is, I don't think she fell off a couch either. Now, if you want to get the scenario that Amaral presents, it's in the video placed in the description. You can watch the whole thing and get the full sense of what he thinks. But at least one YouTuber I know has also misinterpreted my words and stance on the subject. So let me be clear. I do think there is something to the idea of sedatives. I also think it's very interesting that Kate's father mentions Calpol. No one asks him directly about Calpol. He volunteers that term. What I find so interesting is just how obstinate the British public are. Whenever you bring up Calpol, there's this tremendous backlash, like there was no paracetamol, there was nothing, no sedative quality in Calpol at the time. And yet in September 2007, Kate's own father brings it up. And I personally don't think it really matters whether it's Calpol or something else. I do think that the whole sedative thing does make sense, but not nearly as directly, and certainly in terms of the events of May 3rd, that many people, if not most people, like to believe.
Is it possible that Kate, with her medical background, might have wanted to help Madeleine to go to sleep that night?
Not at all.
even out of kindness, she certainly
Not
wouldn't
even
have
out of
given.
kindness. I think they may have used cow pollen.
Before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. If you're finding this analysis worthwhile, please like, share, leave a comment. You can also hit the thanks button, and let's get started. So it is also clearly the position of the investigators that they were thinking about certainly medications, medicines, and possibly sedatives as well. In the 48 questions that were presented to Kate, and obviously she chose not to answer any of them, quite a few of them touch on this idea. For example, question 20, why did the twins not wake up during the search or when they were taken upstairs? Question 31, did Maddie suffer from any illness or take any medication? Question 35, what is your medical speciality? And we know that Kate was an anesthetist. Question 39, that is related to restlessness and inability to sleep. Question 40, is it true sometimes you despaired at your children's behavior and it left you feeling very uneasy? And then here's the critical one, 42, in England, did you medicate your children? What type of medication? Interestingly, part of those questions also referred to, did you call Sky News? So you can see from this that the investigators were certainly following this area of investigation. Also, the McCanns were aware of it, and it was also in the media, this whole sedative thing, the sedative narrative, and the McCanns went to some effort to prove that they did not sedate Madeleine's siblings. And so here's an article from The Independent dated Saturday, 20th of October, 2007. Now, the only problem with this article is really the date. It was really too late to take hair samples at that stage in October to determine whether there was sedatives in their systems. And I think that in itself is quite interesting. Now, 2 of the Tapas 9 were anesthetists, including Madeleine's mother, and Madeleine's siblings certainly appeared to be sleeping extremely heavily in the crazy aftermath to a disappearance that is part and parcel of the media narrative. Going back to this article from The Independent, based on these facts, a theory, facts in inverted commas, a theory was concocted that the couple had accidentally overdosed Madeleine with a sedative, she had died in the apartment, and they had secretly disposed of her body. But there's a very simple reason Madeleine couldn't have fallen in the narrow, less than 55-minute window when her parents were out. Even if she fell the moment her parents stepped out of the door to go to the tapas restaurant, it wouldn't be enough time for cadaver traces to form. And this is an area that, as far as I'm aware, no single investigator has ever come upon that insight, simply because no one seems to understand the science of cadaver traces. Moreover, if there was a stage abduction and the stager was back at the tapas bar by 10 p.m., then that would cut the time for cadaver odor to form even further. Can you see just how one-dimensional and poorly thought out the coverage of this case actually is? And it's because it's so poorly thought out and because people don't think in a systematic manner, it's so easy to jump to conclusions. Oh, an abductor did it. Now it all makes sense.
We very much welcome the decision of the Portuguese authorities to release details of a man seen by a witness here in Praia de Luz on Thursday the 3rd of May, the night of Madeleine's disappearance. The release of this important information followed an earlier meeting that we had with senior Portuguese police officers. A meeting that Kate and I both found to be amicable and very constructive. We feel sure that this sighting of a man with what appeared to be a child in his arms is both significant and relevant to Madeleine's abduction, and we would appeal, once again, to anyone who may have seen him or anything else suspicious on or around the 3rd of May to come forward and tell the police. For instance, was this man seen anywhere else in or near the town with a child, or what appeared to be a child? Which direction was he heading in? did he have a vehicle? Whether you're a local resident or a holidaymaker who has since returned home from Portugal, any information, no matter how unimportant you may think it could be, may be vital in helping the Portuguese and British police to find our daughter. As we said yesterday, we wish for nothing more than to bring Madeleine home with us safe and well. Kate and I would also like to make it clear that, as this is very much an ongoing police investigation, we will not be making any further public statements for the time being. Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.